Africa isn't whispering anymore on the world stage, but speaking loud, clear, and what Africa did through the actions of Burkina Faso will bring attention from world powers. Please stick with me, folks, because this is a very significant development for Africa diplomacy. The truth is, Africa is rising, and with each decisive action, the world is left with no choice but to hear. Today, Burkina Faso, under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, sent a message that reverberated across distances. There was more to this than politics. It was an affirmation of sovereignty, of dignity, of self-respect. The government of the Republic of Burkina Faso issued a statement on the 30th of December 2025 that reverberated through the diplomatic community. A statement that left one concept clearly evident: respect is not optional. Previously, on the 16th of December 2025, the United States government made an update to their visa policies. Burkina Faso was included in the list of countries with total visa bans. This will affect Burkina nationals, as it will limit their access to the United States of America. This press release immediately posed some serious questions. Why Burkina? Why now? And as another example of discriminatory treatment and one-sided foreign politics concerning African countries, the government of Burkina Faso did not remain passive either. With a stern and measured press statement, the authorities declared that, under the principle of reciprocity, Burkina Faso will establish similar visa restrictions on citizens of the United States. It wasn't retaliation. This was not emotion. This is diplomacy. Reciprocity is the principle of fairness. One party cannot lessen the rights of the other in international relations. For example, Burkina Faso was very straight. There can be no equality in international relations between a master and a slave. The declaration reiterated the openness of Burkina Faso to cooperation, but to cooperation founded not on coercion and hypocrisy but shared interests. This represents a long-awaited turning point for many Africans, a departure from the position of passive diplomacy to one of assertive and principled leadership. Captain Ibrahim Traoré is leading Burkina Faso down a path of strength instead of silence. This is not just a political statement, it is also symbolic. It shows that African countries will no longer quietly take a back seat in international forums. Furthermore, at the tender age of 35, he is one of the. This is more than just an issue for Burkina Faso. It is an issue of precedent. If a country on the continent can stand up to a global superpower with calmness, dignity, and strength, it may give other countries a feeling that they can do the same if they are faced with injustice. It also sends a very clear message to African diasporas around the world. Your country is now aware and not afraid to speak out. But for countries in the global south, confronting the same challenges, it's hard to think of any country that's inspired anything like what's happening in Burkina Faso, based on what they're doing there, because equality cannot be the foundation of a real partnership. There must be mutual respect, not just in words but also through actions. Other countries are not watching with interest. Recently, visa regulations in the US have been made tougher for citizens of several African countries, including members of the Alliance of Sahel states, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Although policies of this nature were termed administrative in tone and reaction, one thing was painfully clear in Sahel: some passports count more than others. For years, the response to these, for the first time in a long while, African nations are not responding alone, they are responding together. And that changes everything. We have traversed many years of division in Africa. We have lived through crises where African countries have issued various statements, called for different directions, and failed to stand united. But this time, responses go far beyond visa policies. This points to something deeper. Africa is learning to speak in one voice. Africa is redefining what partnership really means. Africa no longer begs for validation, sympathy, and permission. The Sahel States Alliance is proving that African cooperation does not need sealing or stamping from Washington, Paris, Brussels, or London. Real partnership is based on mutual respect, not on one-sided decisions, and where there is no respect, silence is no longer a choice anymore. This is a message not only to the United States but to the entire world system. The Alliance of Sahel States is quite clear. They remain open to cooperation, still remain committed to dialogue, but cooperation must be based on equality and dignity. This is not anti-American. This is a so-called pro-sovereignty approach. This is era of automatic submission is coming to